We are now down to our musical selection. Our next selection will be by Mr. Echo Simpson. He is a sound recording technology music major, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. He will be accompanied by Mr. Andy Book. Following Mr. Simpson, Dr. Freda Carroll, Dean of the School of Education, will make special presentations, and I'd ask that she would come forward immediately following Mr. Simpson.
Bella siccome un angelo in terra pellegrino, fresca siccome un giglio che s'apre sul mattino, voglio che parla e ride, sguardo che con guide, chioma che vince l'evano, sorriso in cantator, sorriso il cantator. Alma innocente ingenua che semeres maniora, morestia impareggiabile, bontà che fila mora, ai miserrietosa, gentil dolce amorosa, il ciel l'ha fatta nascere per far beato un cor, beato un cor. Il ciel l'ha fatta nascere per far beato un cor, per far beato un cor. Il ciel l'ha fatta nascere per far beato, per far beato un
Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful song. It's gorgeous. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I know you've been enjoying yourself as I have been today. Can I get a round of applause for how you've enjoyed it? Okay. We have been anticipating this opportunity for a long time. The recognition of AM&N UAPB alumni superintendents and principals in Arkansas. Today, I'm honored to join in recognizing these outstanding principals and superintendents whose work has a tremendous impact on the lives of children and families across Arkansas. We are also thrilled to say that these administrators are members of the AM&N UAPB Golden Lion family and graduates from the School of Education.
Oh, so
Oh, yeah. We know that education is important to them. Thank you for helping students explore their options, find their passion, and prepare for careers and lifelong learning. Thank you for your vision, hard work, and your extraordinary leadership. We are proud of you. As I call your name, please come forward and remain standing for a group photograph. Our first honoree, Ms. Faye Gant. Mrs. Gant is a 1968 elementary ed graduate, which means she was an AM&N graduate. She retired from the Pine Bluff District after 32 years of service. I asked her who were her mentors when she was here. She mentioned Dr. Dawson and Gladys Young. Some of you, I'm sure, know who she's talking about. Okay, Mrs. Gladys Young. She tells me that her sisters, brothers, and she has a daughter that will be coming to UAPB, so there's quite a legacy. She's already graduated. Okay. All right. So there is definitely a legacy here. Thank you. Mr. Thomas Gathan. Mr. Gathan is currently the superintendent at McGee. He has 40 years of experience. Mr. Gathan was also, he's sort of a transition person. He came when the institution was AM&N. And before he left, it was UAPB. He graduated in 1974. He mentioned he's from Luxor, Arkansas. For those of you out-of-towners, you probably saw signs if you traveled down 55. Metropolis of Luxor, Arkansas. I asked him who his mentors were when he was here. He mentioned Coach Ambler and Dr. Kenneth Johnson. He was a member of the basketball team. I don't think you realize that. But he was here during Coach Clemens' tenure as basketball coach. His legacy continues. His granddaughter will be a part of the STEM program here at UAPB in the fall.
All right.
And he mentioned she'll be a Golden Lion cheerleader, so I know he'll be here. He sits right in front of me. He won't miss a game. Mr. Thomas Gathan. Our next honoree is Mr. Charles Bruce. Mr. Bruce retired from Pine Bluff Public Schools after 40 years of service. One of his last 15 years, he was director of alternative school programs. He's an AM&N graduate from the year 1967. I asked him who his mentors were. He mentioned Dr. Littlejohn and Dr. J.B. Johnson. All right. Thank you for our honorees. We realize this is a busy time for superintendents, principals in the state, but we do appreciate them taking their time out to be with us today. Thank you.
We're now down to a short break before our next session. However, I must advise you that you do not want to miss the session immediately following the break. That is the excitement part, well, most exciting part to me of the entire conference. I always look forward to the student-teacher roundtable, and that will immediately follow the break.
My name is Jeff Howard. I'm a secondary social studies teacher. I do not teach science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. However, I do play a role in steering students towards careers in these fields. I teach history. Science is a major component of history. When most people think of history, they think of kings, wars, and politics. While these subjects may seem to get more attention in history classes, it is the advancement of technology that has driven our development, and it is critical that our students are exposed to the great men and women of science whose contribution have made today's society possible. As a social studies teacher, I teach the history of STEM, developments from the agricultural revolution through today's communication and information revolution. Humans have been inventors since the dawn of time. Our first scientist probably figured how to use a stick to catch insects. His successors chipped flint to make tools. As we progressed, our tools became more advanced and our curiosity drove us to make better tools and a more secure life. Eventually, man discovered that agriculture offered a safer future than hunting and gathering. Although the names of those responsible for the agricultural revolution have been lost to history, they propelled human development and sowed the seeds of modern civilization. As we look back on history, we marvel at structures such as the pyramids of Egypt, the aqueducts that supplied water to Roman cities, both engineering masterpieces considering the technology available at the time. The men and women who engineered these structures were driven by curiosity. They wanted to make life better. They were not content to accept the world as it was. Later, the scientific revolution gave birth to such radical theories that the earth was not the center of the universe. Copernicus created a model that placed the sun at the center of our universe. Pretty radical considering the church and most others considered the earth to be the center of the universe. It took both curiosity and courage to challenge conventional beliefs. Other great scientists like Galileo, the father of astronomy and physics, went on to support and prove these theories, and now they're known as fact. As we developed, many great minds contributed. Marie Curie, pioneering research on radioactivity and radium. George Washington Carver, peanut butter and research into alternative crops. Thomas Edison, inventor of the light bulb, phonograph, and motion picture camera. He held over 1,000 patents. And let's not forget Henry Ford, who revolutionized the production of the automobile that we use so much today. As much as we stress the contributions of these innovators of the past, it's equally important we educate students about our modern leaders in science and technology. We discussed the space program. It's only been a few short decades since man broke free from the boundaries of Earth. We discussed the space program and the advances it made, along with the people like Krista McAuliffe, our first teacher in space, and Mae Jemison, the first black woman in space. The communication and information revolution of today is key to understanding where we came from and where our society and economy are going. Microsoft and Apple are two of the leading innovators today. When you think about those two companies, you think Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Today, these are current events, but a few years from now, they'll be a part of our history. Will we view these men the same as we view Copernicus, Galileo, Henry Ford, or Thomas Edison? Only time will tell. History teaches a lot of lessons, but only to those who are willing to listen. As a social studies teacher, I stress the importance of these innovators. I convey the importance of these topics and their impact on our civilization. One day in the future, one of my students, inspired by the history of these great men, will appear on the list with these great scientists. Thank you. Our next presenter will be speaking on incorporating STEM in P4.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Williams, and today I will be telling you how to incorporate STEM in P4. Some teachers incorporate STEM in their lessons daily. STEM engages and excites students. In the PowerPoint I have prepared for you, I have pictures of students demonstrating an interdisciplinary project. The parents of these students have consented to the viewing of their pictures. In my third grade class, I did a thematic unit on three-dimensional figures. My focus figure was the cube. When talking about STEM, I administrated a project using marshmallows and toothpicks to build a cube. For the math component, the students had to tell me how many marshmallows and toothpicks were needed to create the cube. The students also had to identify the number of edges, vertices, and faces on the cube. I also presented a question to the students. I asked them if they were to put faces on the cube, how many paper squares would we need? I explained to them that if we knew how many faces were on the cube, we also knew how many paper squares it would take to cover the cube. On the slide, I have the number of edges, the number of vertices, and the faces and the paper squares it would take. When going it, using the cube to make the, using the cube in a science component of STEM, I took a lesson from the state of matter. When we reached the section of the lesson that discussed whether items would sink or float, we used one of the cubes from the previous lesson. I started the students discussed whether the cube would sink or float, and after that, we prepared the water for the demonstration. Of course, the cube floated. Thank you for your time and attention. Our next presentation will tell how to transition from incorporating STEM in P4 into incorporating STEM in family and consumer science.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Molly Sanford, and I'm a student teacher at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and I teach family and consumer science classes. As it has recently been discussed, it is important that we as teachers promote STEM in our classrooms. And as a family and consumer science teacher, I try to find new ways of implementing STEM into my classroom. And what I was going to show you was an interactive website called Super Tracker. I don't know how many people have heard of it before, but this is an interactive website that students can make online journals with virtual coaching to help them track their food habits and physical activity, so they can enter in what they ate for the day, and it'll tell them how many calories that was. It will tell them what food group targets they hit on. So if they ate oatmeal for breakfast, it'll show them how much grains they had for the day. If they went jogging for 20 minutes one day, they could enter that in, and it would tell them how many moderate intensity minutes they used. And this is a great way, by doing the online journaling, than the hassle of kids trying to keep up with paper journals throughout the day. This activity is imperative because students need to be exposed at a young age to the risks they take whenever they don't stick or follow a healthy diet or engage in physical activity, and they can find that they can reduce risks to their health, such as obesity and heart disease. And there are many more features and tools that you can engage your students in, and that you and the students can explore as teachers using supertracker.com. It's brought to you by the Agriculture Department, USDA. Thank you for listening today. I wish I could have showed it to you, but you can see we're having some problems, but thank you. And now I will introduce you your next speaker, who will talk to you about using technology when books aren't enough. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Conrad Johnson. I am a student at the university majoring in early childhood education, and I am talking about the use of books and integrating technology. As I've been doing a little research on the different aspects of STEMs, it bothered me that some of the subjects that were being taught had very little or no information that you can use in the book. And if the purpose of STEM is to prepare P4 students, teachers, parents, and anybody that's concerned with STEM for success, then I don't feel like we're doing a very good job if we had books as the only thing that we needed to get the information across. This is a third grade science book. I had the opportunity of teaching about energy in science to my third grade class, and this is all I had to use. Only information was one page. How is that going to help a student be successful in anything if all they have to use is one page of information? So I thought about, how can we get the information that we need? So I found a website, and websites to me are a very, very good way of helping students and teachers engage in the information. So we can't get access for some reason. I had a video prepared for you on the website that I have used several times called brainpopjunior.com. And what it does is take the information that you're not going to find in this science book, and it's going to give you more innovative information and help the kids also be involved in it because they're interested and it's fun. They can sit down and watch a video that enhances the information that you've given them from the book, and it also provides questions and quizzes and other things that they can do, fun activities to help them along the way. But as I was sitting here really, and I was thinking about how you can have a successful student in STEM, and not just in STEM, but in any of your educational courses, meaning math, science, reading, writing, everything else. And I was thinking about a sandwich. And to me, that may sound crazy, but a sandwich brings, to me, the knowledge was the bread. Because without the knowledge, whether it's from a book or whatever other source that you may have, the students won't learn anything. They won't know anything, and it's not going to help them to enhance or to prepare to go on to the next level in life. The hands-on part of it was the part that you gave after the knowledge that you've given them. You give them something to do that's not just book-related and paper and pencil. I often tell my students all the time that books are no fun for me, and it's no fun for them either, because all you're doing is reading all day. And the last thing was the success of the student after they've been given the knowledge and they've been provided with adequate hands-on information, and that was the meat. That all provides a successful student in any form, STEM and just plain education-wise. Now, that's the end of my presentation, and I want to introduce the next person who will give you some fun ways to engage students in STEMs. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Hale. I'm a student teacher here at the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, majoring in middle level education with emphasis in English and math. Today I'll be sharing with you some ways to get students more actively engaged in STEM learning. Just recently I completed my student teaching experience at 34th Elementary School here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I couldn't help but reflect on how much the classroom scene had changed since I was in elementary school. When I walked into the classroom day one, all I can do was gaze in astonishment at how much technological progression had been made within classrooms. Back when I was in school, which was not too long ago, all we had was the teacher, the textbook, and manipulatives. Although it wasn't much, we still got a firm education. It wasn't always fun, but there were teachers out there that really had a strong passion for teaching and could make learning so fun and engaging. I can recall when smart boards began to be implemented in classes, which was around my junior year of high school, I think it was. I'm from a small town, and that was our first time seeing anything of that nature, and it made us high schoolers instantly pay attention to what was being taught in the classroom. I feel technology in the classroom is important because children today live in a world that is driven by technology. iPhones, iPads, laptop computers, enhanced video gaming. The world is much more advanced than it once was. It is crucial for the education system to be just as media savvy. You have to look at it from this perspective. Just think about how many times a day you're engaged in something as simple as texting or browsing the web. Let's be honest, technology is the new form of entertainment. We like it, everyone does, we find it fun. Our children in the classrooms are just the same. Inside the classrooms today, you will find devices such as smart boards, which are in just about every class I've encountered so far in the Pine Bluff School District. Neos, which are wireless keyboards with little small screens that allow the students to practice keyboarding inside the classroom. They don't have to go to labs anymore. And I've seen these devices in the classrooms as early as kindergarten, so they're a big thing right now. Also, you'll find in the classrooms media centers where students can work on activities such as, for instance, in my 4th grade class, we will have the students, after they finish activities, we'll let them work on interactive sites such as Study Island, which is a website that gives them a more detailed lesson and also gives them activities that they can engage in. My students always enjoy playing games and doing activities on the Cool Math site as well to go along with the lessons. I taught math, and I knew math is one of the biggest ego killers to most of the children in the school systems today. And the bulk of my students had difficulty with math, so I had to address that situation. I know that students don't like math. Sometimes they just don't get it. And if they don't get it, you'll lose their attention inside the classroom. Be so many times I'll be in the classroom observing my students while I'm teaching, and I'll see them doing idle things such as going through their backpack, cleaning out their desk, or just singing. I had so many problems with that. That shocked me coming from a 4th grade class. But basically, they would do anything to keep from paying attention to me, and I began to realize that this was a sign from my students letting me know that they weren't understanding the content that I was getting. So I began to go on the internet and search for some type of interactive activities or games or just anything that could get the students more actively engaged in what I was teaching in the classroom. And one of the activities that I came up with was a song. I always had problems with my girls in my class singing. They love singing. I had to reprimand so many students for singing that Beyonce song, Drunk in Love. They always wanted to say that little surfboard line. So what I did was I went online and I went to YouTube and I found some little songs that they can actually use that tied into our lessons. And what I came up with was the fraction shuffle, and I'm going to have the video to show you my students doing the fraction shuffle. And you can just observe how much fun they're having with this. So as you can see, I found a little activity that they could channel some of the energy they had coming off the playground into the classroom. So I found the fraction shuffle. As you can see, the fraction shuffle is just like the Cupid shuffle, and instead it incorporates math terminology into the lyrics. Like for instance, instead of saying dance routines, it says 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1 whole, now walk a quarter turn. And the students really had fun with that, and they really got into it. So like, to bring this speech to a conclusion, all I'm saying is there are ways to get students actively engaged in STEM. It's up to us, the teachers, to go out and find the resources, the available things that get the students just a little more interested into it. So I'll conclude my speech from here, and I'll bring you our next speaker, who will be talking about engaging students in engineering.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine Williams. I am an early childhood education major at the university. And today I wanted to talk to you all as parents, as staff, as teachers, retired educators, or active educators, exactly how to get K through 12 students interested in engineering. I'm actually in the 4th grade right now doing my student teaching, and a lot of my students do not even understand what engineering is. When I bring up the word, they're just instantly scared. So what you have to do in the classrooms is pretty much teach them something without actually scaring them, by giving them the facts, but not giving it to them a little bit too harsh. So that's exactly what I wanted to do today. Now, some of the statistics that are associated with engineering are that only 53% of students are more likely to consider the subject of engineering after learning about the role of engineers in the development of music and video games. Just like how my peer Markel just mentioned that all these students are only interested in touching or tapping something. They're not really interested in holding that piece of paper or that pencil. Another statistic shows that 61% of middle and high school students were influenced to join this type of career after learning that engineers today make an annual income of $75,000. As soon as you start to put the figures in place of students, all of a sudden they want to be an engineer. They don't want to be a teacher. They don't want to be anything other than an engineer or a doctor. When you start telling them about 6 figures, 7 figures, then they start to think about all the things that they want to do with that money. So my question is here today is this a fact or a myth? I'm sorry. Is it a fact or a myth that students who are not interested or have never been exposed to the field of engineering, they're gonna think of it as difficult? So as soon as that student thinks that's difficult, well, then we lost their attention. So we're gonna have to do something to get their attention back. So that's when I thought of some things that we do in our classroom. Every day we do a science experiment. Every day we do an engineering type of activity. And this is where I get all my information from. This is teachengineering.com. It is wonderful. As a teacher or a parent, homeschool, you can type in the grade level, you can type in if it's a male or if it's a female, and they will give you lesson ideas and activities. And then here is Dragonfly TV, and Dragonfly TV gives you all types of videos that you can view, such as on pbs.com or the channel PBS. And it gives you videos to any type of lesson that you're teaching. And then NASA. NASA.gov is excellent. I went to NASA camp, and it was the most fun I ever had in my life. And you can do anything you want in this website. There's a virtual lab, there's for educators, it's for students, there's anything you need on this website. And this is also one thing that I did at NASA camp, is learn how to make air rockets out of, I think it was a straw, a piece of paper, and a pencil. And you can make a rocket. And that's one form of engineering in a very simple way. And then here goes my next question. If you don't have the internet, you don't have a smart board and a TV, where can I go in Arkansas to give students hands-on experience? Well, I have the solution. You can go to the Arts and Science Center for Southeast Arkansas. I actually work there, and I am the education intern. And what we're doing right now, we're having summer camps, and every Saturday we have a family fun day, and you can come and bring your children, and we have an activity every Saturday. And then there's the Arkansas Railroad Museum. It's located downtown. You can actually go onto the trains and you can meet conductors, and that's a very good place, and it's free. And then the best for last is the Museum of Discovery located in Little Rock, and is one of the best places to take students. They have something to do every day with an educator. Thank you for your time, and our next presenter will be talking about alternative technology techniques to use in a science classroom.
Good afternoon. How y'all feeling out there? All right, I see that lunch starting to hit some of y'all's stomachs. I'm seeing a couple of leaners out there. So go on, wake up. How y'all enjoying the presentation so far? All right, y'all better appreciate this sweat. We worked hard on these presentations. Now, I look out in the audience and I see a lot of teachers that I've encountered here at my time in university. So we all have that educator's background, right? So as teachers, you know that in the classroom, we're not always presented with everything that we need to carry out what we're trying to do, right? So never, but never is this more prevalent than in our smaller, more rural school districts. How do I know this? Because I am a product of such a school district. Elan, Arkansas, population so small, they actually population, I can just say these many. But I'm saying, even in those classes, I love my small school. I really did, because I got a good education from it. But needless to say, we didn't always have, say, the materials of, say, a larger 7A school. Because let's be realistic. AA school serving 500 can't compete with a 7A school serving 3,000. The budgets just are not going to match up. So as teachers in these type of school districts, we have to be able to use and utilize those materials available to us to still be able to give a quality education to those students. Now, I don't know if anyone in here is familiar with a case in Arkansas, like around 2003, 2004, where the Lakeview School District went against the State Board of Education for like more to increase resources for the small school district. Now, they succeeded in their case, but what they did is they set off a series of mass consolidations. My school was a victim of such consolidation. Excuse me as I shed a tear because I miss my school. But I'll say, in a sense, these consolidations didn't solve the problem because in a sense, all they ended up doing was merging a small school with another small school. So these, I'll say, they were still facing that same problem. Limited funds, limited materials. Now, in recent years, we've had what's called school improvement grants. Everybody familiar with that? All right, well, the state has basically allocated funds to these schools to try to, in a sense, bridge that gap, try to bring things closer together. So you still have a lack of funds and things of that nature, but it's getting better. Now, one thing that has helped out is the fact that now you see more smaller school districts with computers and internet access. And this is especially helpful because, like you said earlier, as one of my peers alluded to earlier, kids, they don't necessarily get that same stimulation sitting in front of a book all day. They don't want to just sit in front of a book reading all day. They have too much stimulation. Like you have four-year-olds with iPhones. Like my nieces have iPhones. At 4 years old, I'm worried about not trying to get caught at recess. I don't want to be it. But they're playing apps on iPhones. So you know what I'm saying? They're overly stimulated, so they need their stimulation to continue in the classroom. Now, how does that allude to what I'm going to talk about? All right. Now, my field is biology. That's where I teach. Everybody knows that a major component of any biology course is a lab. Now, labs cost money. Anybody that don't know, labs are very expensive to conduct. You have microscopes, you have slides, you have specimens, you have manipulatives and things of that nature that all cost money. So how can I still, even if I'm a small school district, it's not in our budget to provide such. How can I still get that same educational experience to my children? Well, in say the last 10, 15 years or so, we had the advent of what's called virtual labs. Now that's what my presentation was going to be over today. It was an actual virtual lab. Now one of our basic fundamental labs in biology is a cheek cell extraction. Now to do this physically, you would need microscopes, you would need slides, you would need toothpicks, covers, and all that things of that nature. But thanks to this virtual lab, you can do the same exact lab, minus those materials, but they still get that same exposure, that same experience. And it helps to expose them to that, so when they get to, say, college, they've already had that experience. Because that was my biggest thing. Coming out of high school, I'm a big fish in a small pond. I'm thinking I'm smart, I'm all this, I'm all that. But I get to college, I get to seeing a lot of things that I'd never seen before. So I feel like, in a sense, I'm behind. So we don't want our children to feel like that when they enter college. We want them to be on that same level or similar to it. Now, the biggest thing that I like about these virtual labs is that, like I say, it allows them to get that same educational experience, that same exposure, but without the cost. It allows them to go through the same labs, manipulate everything, they can touch it. It's easy to navigate. It also provides a sense of instruction because it gives them that baseline knowledge, that core knowledge that they will need to continue to fulfill that lab. Now, the biggest positive of this is that it's interactive. It keeps our students actively engaged. That's a big word that I've been hearing a lot since I've been in the classroom. Keeping our students actively engaged. Now, an activity of such, an activity like this can spark that it can spark the next scientists, next chemists, next astronauts, things of that nature, and influence them to enter into STEM, which is what we're trying to do here. So, it was my hope to show you this activity so that you can see that how it could engage them and kind of employ their minds to want to enter the field of STEM. But we were without, so we had to modify and adjust. Now that concludes basically what I had. I just went ahead and give you a gist of everything I had. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. But my name is Aaron Glass. I'm a graduate student, a STEM scholar here at the university. I'm now a student teacher at Washington Chapel in the field of biology. Now, our next presenter will bring you a presentation over the integration of technology into assessment. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. I am Virginia Foster. I am a Life Earth Science Education major here at the university, and today I present to you Integrating Technology into Assessment. As we all know, when we assess, we are measuring what the students know and also what they have yet to learn. It is our duty to engage our students while doing so. Here is a cartoon that I found to be quite humorous. And it reads, how can I trust your information when you're using such outdated technology? As technology evolves, so should the strategies teachers use. If not, your students might look similar to these: disengaged and bored. No one wants dull food, correct? So why would we provide a dull learning environment for students? That's something to think about. Our students should be fully engaged and excited about the lesson at hand. Their excitement should illuminate like a light bulb. Through the use of technology, this goal can be achieved. I have 3 examples that are very successful in assessing students through technology. The first is Jeopardy! I have used the game of Jeopardy! To assess students, and Jeopardy! Actually promotes cooperative learning and also competition. I actually have a sample of a Jeopardy! Game that I have actually used. I'm sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulties. I'm just going to go ahead and go on. I'm sure you all have watched Jeopardy! You see what the Jeopardy! Board looks like. But basically, the students, I actually allow them to assemble into their own groups, and the students actually use this to review for tests. And the students have actually said that this has really increased and helped them to retain information before testing. Next, we have a word cloud, and basically this is a collage of words that are in a creative way. There are several different softwares that you can use to create word clouds. We have Tuxedo, Word It Out, and Wordle. Basically, to assess the students, I will ask the students, they'll actually be assigned a word, and they will have to define that word using other words. So here we have cells, and as you can see, we know cells contain DNA and RNA. They are also eukaryotic, prokaryotic. They are living things, the basic unit of life. They are microscopic, and they're also unicellular and multicellular. All right, as we all know, cell phones are usually prohibited in the classroom, but this last strategy, Poll Everywhere, it actually achieves 2 goals. It allows the students to do what they love, which is text in class, and it allows the teacher to assess their knowledge. All right, so if you all could please, if you have your cellular devices with you, could you all retrieve those now? I actually have a poll for you all to do. We're just going to assess the conference, and how it basically works is that you will text. I apologize, it seems to be not working as well, but basically how Poll Everywhere works, you will text your response to a number, and the results will actually be displayed onto the screen. So the teacher can actually see what it is that the students need to maybe relearn, or where she can move ahead and go forward. So I could use this by assessing the student's knowledge from a previous day. The poll could be, what did you learn yesterday? Or I could assess the students after the lesson and ask them, what did they learn today? So these are all strategies that you can also use in STEM, but also in any other subjects as well. That concludes my presentation. Our final presenter will present Parents Stimulating Student Excitement in the Early Ages.
Hello, my name is Kenyatta Brown, and I'm an early childhood major here at the university. And today I will be talking about parents stimulating students' excitement about STEM education in the early years. As we know, that young children, they learn from everything they do. They are naturally curious, and they want to learn and discover. And it is the parents' responsibilities to help with that curiosity. And as a parent, parents should know that they should foster the children's interest. And the most important thing to remember about teaching STEM is that they are perfectly adapted to learn STEM concepts, and it's not difficult to teach STEM to young children. The secret is to tap into their natural curiosity about the living world. And parents are advised to be interesting, encouraging, and positive when it comes to learning. Children whose parents that shows interest and enthusiasm for education at home will develop their own enthusiasm. When when students hear their parents say, "Oh, I was never good in math," or "Science is boring," they dampen their children's curiosity. So it's important for parents to be encouraging to students. And one way for parents to encourage students of the science aspect is to take them outside and take them on a nature walk. Show them things in nature that they probably wouldn't have seen just staying in the house playing video games. Get them in tune with using their senses. Just imagine a little kid hearing cicadas in the summer for the first time.
And when they are having fun, they want to show you what they learned. So let them, for example, have them count the tiles on the kitchen or on the walls, and have them count by 2s, 3s, and 4s. They won't even know that they're learning. And when you're cooking, let them help you by reading the recipes and measuring the ingredients. And this begins the basic understanding of fractions, and they won't even know it. Instead of having them watching TV, have them play games, board games, leapfrogs. And it helps with decision making, counting, probability, and geometry. With these resources, you as a parent will be stimulating students' excitement about STEM education without them even notice. And remember that education is not the filling of the pan, but the lighting the fire. Thank you.
First of all, give my students a round of applause. One of the most important questions that you need to be able to answer as a teacher is, what will you do when your technology doesn't work? And every last one of you answered that question today, so that's a very good thing. STEM is somewhat of a new school way of teaching. Truth of the matter is, technology has actually outpaced our old way of teaching. Google has become an enemy to a lot of classrooms. A lot of teachers are teaching things that a student can simply put into Google and find the answer to, and then the teacher can't understand why the student is bored out of their mind and want to do other things. If I can find what you spent 45 minutes telling me, I would much rather go ahead and do a simple Google search and be done with it. The question that you need to ask yourself when you're in a classroom, though, is, are you preparing yourself, or are you preparing your students for jobs that don't even exist? Jobs that don't even exist, because if you're teaching your students to simply be regurgitators and test takers, you're missing the point as an educator. Nothing against those who work at Walmart and Tyson and things of that nature, but that's what we're creating in our current education system by teaching kids to continue to repeat what I've told you, okay? We want our students to be able to think outside of the box, and that's what STEM is going to be able to do. I will say this though, STEM is not a very popular method of instruction. There are barriers to this. There are lots of barriers to this. It will require a lot of planning on the front end. If you all just would have had a PowerPoint and you didn't know what it was on your PowerPoint, we're adults for the most part. So if you all would have not had anything to follow that up with, you would have had a problem in your classroom, because it would have erupted because the kids didn't have anything to do. As I listened to you all speak, one of the things that made me feel really good, not one of you mentioned anything about a worksheet. Please keep that up. Please keep that up, because you're killing trees with all of these worksheets, and your activities are actually engaging to the students and they're fun. So as I leave, and I was right out the door before you called me, please make sure that you are producing thinkers and not test takers. Thank you.